There are a number of ways that I've found to make looking at data much easier in a Google Sheet. This is the recap from December, and column B contains answers from checkboxes, column G contains answers from multiple choice, and then there are questions in C, D, and E, and F, which are long response. One way that I've found to make life easier is to add extra tabs down at the bottom. Now when I click Add Sheet, normally it would say Sheet 1, Sheet 2. I had used this previously, so I'm up to Sheet 16. And you can flip back and forth between the tabs just like you can in Excel. I'm going to click on column B. I'm going to right click and copy this column, and then head over to my new sheet, right click, and paste that column. Now the problem with these sheets is that the check boxes just end up with commas in between the answers that I chose. So it's a little bit of a lengthy process. What I'll usually do is I'll insert some rows. I clicked on 2, I shifted and clicked 11, and now I'm going to right click and insert 10 rows above, and then I'm just going to start putting in some of the answers that were down below. So storyonline.net, and then the next one I'm going to double click and just leave where is, which was the backpacker website, and I'm copying and pasting. The next one's going to be GeoGuessr. And the one after that's going to be Newsella. And then I'll just start putting ones in each column where somebody gave that as a response. If it automatically makes a link, I can remove it so that it's just the words. And now I'll move on to the next response, and that person said GeoGuessr and Newsella, so I'll add a 1 to both of those. This person said nothing. I'll give 1 tick mark there. And it's just a matter of going through and making check marks for what people said. So here we've got Smartboard Training Opportunity is a new one, so I'll have to add that with 1 person saying that. Storyline, online, and where is, so I'll add 1 for each of those. GeoGuessr, another one of those. Extra math, so I'm going to have to add that to my list here. Give 1 check mark. Then Newsella and Kahoot. And I'll give 1 check mark to that. And so you get the point. You just continue going on and on until you have everything added up. As I continue, I start running out of room on the screen. So one easy thing to do is to click and shift click on the rows. Move your mouse up to one of the gray lines, and you can just sort of slide that and give yourself some more room so you can continue on. And I can even do that with empty columns. And now I'm going to continue making my check marks for Smartboard, Story Online, Extra Math, Newsella, and this one has a new one about the Information Technology Curriculum Map. So that can get a check. Now that I've gotten everything recorded, I can add up these ones. Another quick trick that also works in Excel is I can click and shift click on all the columns with all the number ones, put my mouse on the light gray line that separates the titles and double click, and it will automatically squeeze down the row to just the size that it needs to fit the data. I'm going to type in equals sum parenthesis and then drag across every single cell, whether or not it has a 1, for as far as I would have for the longest filled row. And then Shift and 0 to close the parentheses and hit enter. And I'm going to edit copy and edit paste that sum all the way down. Now this information is a sum. If I want to sort it or if I want to remove things, it might be easier to have just the values from these columns. So I can shift click on the bottom of that row. If I say edit copy, it's going to copy the data, and then I can edit paste special and paste only the values. Now if you look here, this is the value 18. That's a sum of all the entries in these cells here. So it can be very handy to have just the values. I can click and shift click to highlight my information and say data sort. Now what I'd like to do is sort column X from Z to A so that it's number wise. And you'll notice that even though I had things highlighted, unlike in Excel, it just sorts everything. So it even sorted my title down here. The last thing I might want to do is I might want to insert one to the right of these titles and drag this over and then highlight and cut those values, paste them next to the numbers here so that it's a little bit easier to read and share. So now I know that Newsela was most popular bringing back to the school. Google Lit Trips was something I talked to somebody about on the side, and Storyboard, that was something spoken between a couple of workshop attendees. But this is one way to consolidate your answers.